There was a time in my life I thought I had to do it all by myself. I didn't know the grace of God was sufficient. I didn't know the love of God was at hand. But now I can say, if you are discouraged, struggling just to make it through another day, you gotta let it go, let it all go. And this is what you have to say. I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life. And my heart is open wide. Yes, it's only up to God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, it's only up to God. I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life. In my heart is open wide. Yes, it's only up to God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, it's only up to God. One more time. I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life. In my heart it's open wide. Yes, it's only up to God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, it's only up to God. Woo!
Thank you so much, Miguel. And thank you for turning off that reverb. Appreciate this little flow we got going. Working really well for me. Speaking of flow, let's get into the session flow of what to expect over the course of the next hour-ish. All right. So we had an incredible sound bath from Brandolyn and Robin. I took a quote, snagged a quote from that today. That'll be in our overview of the theme. And they will be here on the fourth Sunday of every month. So if you love them, fourth Sundays is the one to come to and make sure you get to experience that live. Then Miguel led us in our collective release. Then our next thing after this is that we will be invited to speak our vision and mission together. If it resonates, then we will honor the 39 tribes by reviewing a list of the 39 tribes represented in the state of Oklahoma and just give a little good vibes, good energy, and love to them. Then Trey G is here. He's going to be leading our Uncuffed Contemplation. Miguel will lead us in the song Let Go of the Shore, which is my first time hearing it. So I love that Miguel's been putting me on to New Thought music that I didn't know before I got here. It's so fun. Then I'm going to speak on our theme. We're going to sing Pour Yourself in Me from Ricky Byers, do a little conscious giving, announcements about the kinds of things that we are offering, and then we will be closing out with the peace. All right, so here's that vision and mission. If it resonates with you, feel free to speak along with me.
We are a loving, inclusive community, joyfully expressing spirit. We honor, celebrate, and support each individual's awakening to their spiritual sovereignty. We empower each other to live happy, healthy, abundant lives.
All right, and here's the 39 tribes.
Hi, I'm Trey. When I was
Could you turn your microphone on? Thank you.
I gotta turn that on.
Oh, that's.
I'll start
that's
over
better,
there.
Much better.
Hi, I'm Trey. So on the way here, I was pondering. Well, I've been pondering for days because this is what I do. I ponder a lot. But I was contemplating over what is the communal uncertainty, right? And to me, everything, right? Everything is just a reflection of ourselves, right? Of ourselves. And so how can we best personally have an effect on the communal uncertainty? And that's finding that certainty within us. But certainty doesn't mean I know everything that's going to happen, everything that's going to be, right? It is not that type of knowing. It's not mental. It's with our heart, in the certainty of who we are, in the certainty of who I am, right? What I am. That everything is always working out for me. Every great wisdom tradition, right? Every spiritual teaching has taught us faith, and trust, right? And those things go a long way, and it's been manipulated and used against us to where we've lost a level of that faith. But when you come to know yourself, that faith comes back naturally, right? It falls in line, because when you know who you are and you realize the oneness of what is and everything that is, then there's really no uncertainty that everything is always working out for me. Whether it's a challenge, whether it's a trial, whatever it is, it's always working out for me. And the thing that helps shift the ease in which we encounter those situations is just in that faith, right? Our subconscious, our central nervous system, when it's dysregulated, right? We don't trust, we don't allow, and we don't receive as easily. When our heart is closed and hardened from the experiences, we build walls around to protect ourselves. But that also keeps the good from coming in as easily. Those walls also dim your light a little bit, because we project this outward. So I invite you to learn to soften your heart, to stay in that space of love, because that is where uncertainty does not lie. Uncertainty does not mean that we have to be in fear. Uncertainty just means that we don't exactly know. When you're in that state of love, you can be uncertain and know that it's going to work out for you in any given moment, in any given time. So what I would like to invite you all to do with me right now in this moment is I'd like you to just close your eyes, take a few deep breaths, find your simple, soft, slow breath deep into the belly. Now take a moment and just ponder on a situation in your life that you've been feeling uncertain about. There's that wind of uncertainty.
That's exactly what my situation feels like.
Right? It had a wind of uncertainty, but either way, I'll just project a little more right here, because I can talk louder if I want to. But in your mind, when you take that moment and you envision, how did it make you feel? Did it close you off because you were worried? Did it close you off because you have been trained to live in a state of fear? Instead, if you can take a moment and you can visualize, what if the best possible outcome were to come from that? What is my dream outcome? How does this come to be in the best way for me? And this is something we can practice every day. Slow down your thoughts when you notice yourself worrying and projecting a future that hasn't even come. That is the cause of the anxiety within you. That is that unsettled nervous system. Breathe. Allow your heart to open. And what if it works out perfectly? What if it works out like a dream? What if it works out better than you could have ever imagined? Can you allow yourself to sit with that feeling? As we do more often, we train our nervous system to expect more and greater, to allow bigger and better to happen for us. This is how we change the world. By changing our inner world, the outer world will begin to reflect to us more clearly the truth of what we see, the truth of who we are. You and I are not divided. That is just a belief in a space that holds us apart. You and I are one. We're all one with our Creator. We're all one to be here and experience this world. Trust in the plan that you were simply meant to be here, now, today, here in this present moment, here in your heart. There is no worry for the future. There is no regretting of the past. There's simply love here in your heart. So when you start to get away, don't beat yourself up. We all do. We all feel all of these emotions. That is the human experience. But in this moment, you always have the choice to come back here, out of the mind, out of the uncertainty, to your heart, where you can just be. And in that being, that's where we are free. That's where we become one with the Creator. We've never been separate. The mind is an illusion. And in our oneness, in that freedom, that is where that certainty can fade, where we can hold the space and the presence for one another to show each other love exactly as we are. No need to be anything else. And in that freedom, you grant someone the certainty to be themselves. And that's the greatest gift we can give to one another. And I pray that we can all take that and carry it forward throughout our days. And when we forget, just remember, take a moment, find your breath, and in that breath, we have the connection to all, to each one of us. Thank you.
Thanks, Trey.
Thank you.
the water carry you. Let go of the shore. Float into the mystery. No need to make a plan. Your heart will be your compass. Just let yourselves in faith and trust that you will arrive. Let go of the shore and let the water carry you. Let go of the shore. Float into the mystery. Let go of the shore and let the water carry you. Let go of the shore. Float into the mystery. One more time. Let go of the shore and let the water carry you. Let go of the shore. Float into the mystery.
Does this work? No, this isn't doing anything right now. Yeah, you're gonna.
Did you turn it on?
It is on. Yes.
It wasn't just me.
It was not just you. I don't know what happened to make this. This mic has been our funky one since we got it.
Oh, okay.
First it was weird, and then the antennas resolved the situation, and now it's not. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna borrow your blue one.
Oh, no.
Borrow the blue.
The blue part.
Yeah, but blue one. I get it. All right. So I love how the sound equipment is contributing to this vibe of communal uncertainty. We're communally in this situation of like, is the sound gonna work? Is it not? Is it gonna squeak at us? And I'm grateful that we can recognize that this is how communal uncertainty unfolds sometimes, is that a piece of equipment, something that's completely, what's happening? Why isn't it doing what it's meant to do? That the way energy works, obviously, what we teach is that the law of cause and effect is always in action. And so, is cause something physically wrong with the equipment in this moment? Or is cause the energy of us being here in the question of communal uncertainty, and then the technology is corresponding to the energy, the vibe, the cause. The whole concept of cause and effect can be so daunting for people. And I find I am no exception. That one of the things that draws many people to the concept of the law of attraction, to science of mind, is having this idea of control. That I get to have control over the cause. I get to direct cause. Ernest Holmes says that trained thought is more powerful than untrained thought. So if I train my thoughts to direct the causes, to have the effects in my life that I want to create, this is what attracts a lot of people to the concept of the law of attraction. And over the course of this week, I've been having a lot of conversation. There's been a lot of questions for me, and I don't know why. They've come via text. My phone's been ringing, like, how does this work? How does that work? And I've been answering all the questions to the best of my ability. And one of the things that makes me feel good about serving as senior minister of a place like a Center for Spiritual Living is that we don't teach that our answers are the answers. We say Ernest Holmes wrote this philosophy. These concepts worked. I identified with them. I resonated with them. So I showed up. I've learned them. I've learned how to apply these principles into my life, and they have worked for me. They have served and supported me. But we don't teach that the science of mind is the gospel truth and everything else is wrong. And in the conversation about spiritual tradition, spirituality, spiritual principles, what's come up a lot is what's right and what's wrong. And I love that I'm not saying that this is the gospel truth. It can be, but I am not serving as a spiritual authority over other people. One of the reasons that we were intentional about adjusting our language for our mission and vision is that it's this recognition that each one of us has the spiritual sovereignty to identify our own spiritual authority. And so my spiritual authority may be very different than yours. My answers may be different from yours. But what we use, the science of mind, serves as this foundational context for us to explore together. And what has been asked consistently is, let's talk about the science of mind. So I've been moving through the chapters consecutively so that I, for one, will have read the science of mind from cover to cover, which is a thing I know I've never done. And I've done whatever homework I was given, and it was like, this piece, read these pages. I've never been assigned to read this book cover to cover. And I'm grateful to the communities who inspired me to do this. And so chapter 5 is about body, the effects of the cause and effect. And last week, I introduced this quote. This is Ernest Holmes' definition of what the body is. He says, body is the result of spirit working through soul or law. The entire manifestation of spirit, both visible and invisible, is the body of God. There is one body of the universe. And I had meant to I'm gonna run and get this. We have these science of mind bookmarks on the table there, and at the very top there's a symbol that represents it's the visual symbol of science of mind. And so last week I included this quote, but I didn't include the top sentence, the first sentence, that body is the result of spirit working through soul or law. So this diagram, soul is considered the top part of the diagram. Soul or law is the middle, and the bottom is body. And so this diagram represents how thought moves into form. Is that you have this little movement. This is the movement of energy starting with spirit, moving into soul, going to the bottom into form or body, and coming back up again at the top. So this is a nice little handy dandy bookmark if you'd like to grab that and learn about the 5 steps of affirmative treatment, which I will close this out with an affirmative treatment, and just have that visual representation of what we're talking about as we're talking about body this month for the month of May. Ernest Holmes said in chapter 5, spirit is the absolute being. That is the only thing in the universe which has self-knowingness, volition, choice, or will. So just to clarify, as we're talking about spirit, soul, and body, spirit is being defined as creators is another word that people use for spirit, the absolute being, the only thing in the universe which has self-knowingness, volition, choice, or will. And so what that essentially means, as we're talking about creator, spirit, is that because energy is literally all that there is, that we must be the energy of spirit itself. And so this is where self-knowingness comes from. This is where volition and choice and will come from. Is recognizing that the energy of life itself, spiritual energy, it expresses as us. As Trey said, there is no separation between us and the divine, that it expresses as us. He also says, the soul is the servant of the spirit and has no choice and no purpose other than to execute the purpose given it. So that diagram that I showed you, the soul is the center part of it. It is the law itself. So as we walk in with this energy of communal uncertainty, the law says, and so it is, and the technology responds in accordance to thought, will, volition. And communally, we come together to share mics. The spirit of the universe cannot change. The body of the universe cannot help but changing. So this is the concept of changeless versus the fact that God is change. There's a Octavia Butler fiction book called The Parable of the Sower, which I heard is going to be like a TV show or something, a movie, something like that at some point. I read it for the third time recently, and the main character describes God as change. And God itself, we speak to as both being changeless. The spirit of the universe cannot change, but the form changes. So we talked about this before with the concept of thinking of the soul as literal soil, that it has no opinions about what you plant there. If you put a carrot seed, plant carrot seeds in soil, soil responds with what it's meant to do, what it is designed to do. And it's never going to say, ugh, I hate carrots. I'm not about to grow any of these because I don't like them. Like, the soul has no opinion about what it is that has been placed into the soil. All it can do is correspond. All it can do is support the growth of what has been planted in it. And you can judge the soil all you want, but we're the ones who made the decision of what goes into it, what gets planted into it. And the form is what comes about with the effects of what's grown out of the decision, the will, to put the carrot seed in the soil and tend to it, take care of it, to allow for it to nurture and grow. But the body is always changing. So the concept of what makes soil work is always, there's nothing is going to change the fact that this is how it works. However, what the carrot looks like is never going to be the same. Every carrot that pops out of that soil doesn't look the same. Doesn't matter if you try and engineer the perfect seed, and obviously there are companies that try and engineer the perfect seed. But what pops up is what pops up. It is the effects in its perfect divine form. So today, when I opened up Facebook, as I'm exploring this concept of communal uncertainty and noticing the ways in which I've shown up in my life, of the community asking me a bunch of questions about spiritual principles, I noticed this quote from Reverend David Alexander this morning, where he says, "While I continue to believe deeply in the creative and formative power of consciousness, I also believe spirituality becomes dangerous when it teaches people to transcend reality before they have reckoned honestly with it." So what resonates with me most about this is that as we're talking about these concepts, these science of mind principles, that reckoning piece is really important. And it's very important to me that I'm never glossing over that. So when I saw this, I was like, let me just make sure that I've highlighted this and I've made this clear. And he says that authentic spiritual practice is never a shortcut. That calling me and asking me, is this the gospel truth? How does this work? Or sitting down and meditating for the purposes of experiencing what it is that you are trying to experience, it's never going to get you there faster. That each one of us is on our own perfect journey, whether we like it or not. We are on our own perfect journey. And what spiritual practice will do is connect us with this recognition that of the creative and formative power of consciousness. But that reckoning that comes from the experience of looking at communal uncertainty, not just brushing it away, pretending that it doesn't exist. God is all there is. Love is all there is. If there's no reckoning involved, what occurs is what we're experiencing right now. And I'm going to say that this is another thing that came up for me over the course of this week, where someone experienced a challenge around race, where they recognize that we are now in an environment where the answers to that aren't as clear. Once upon a time, you could speak up, you could say something, and people would hear you, and it would matter. And now, it's not so clear. But we lived through an era where, when Barack Obama was elected, and I'm not saying anything about him as president, but when he was elected, the conversation we started having collectively as a country was being in this post-racial society. That was the conversation. Look at us. We're in a post-racial society. We got a black president. And then, after 8 years of a black president, we got to see just how much we were not in a post-racial society. And it was kind of never brought up again. Nobody was like, remember how we used to say that? This is how wrong we were. There was no form of reckoning associated with it. It was just this kind of, let's pretend that that's not what we said back then, and just kind of like lay low and deal with the fact that we haven't figured this out collectively, communally. This country specifically has not figured out how to reckon with the fact that 12% of the population got here through transcontinental slavery. And there were all kinds of laws that prevented people descendants of slaves to experience some version of equality in this country, and we haven't figured it out. And so I love that at the Centers for Spiritual Living, we don't say it's all good, it's all light, this is perfect just the way it is. We get to recognize that whatever is ours to do individually, Spirit will communicate that to us. And maybe what is ours to do is to pray. Maybe what is ours to do is to participate in spiritual community. Maybe it is to take a specific action. But I am grateful that we choose to recognize the gift and not glossing over the parts that need to be reckoned with. In fact, in September, we're going to host an event here in this space that's called A Moral Reckoning, which is designed for the community to come together and look at the kinds of things that we don't like looking at and collectively, communally pray and allow for that shift to occur. So I mentioned Robin said this in her meditation this morning that fully resonated with me. Oh, I'm pushing all the buttons. That happens sometimes. Oh, all the buttons. How did that get so far?
Not there.
All right. Here we are. Robin's quote. She said, maybe doubt isn't the opposite of faith. Maybe it is part of the unfolding. And that, I was like, because we have this idea that confidence is something that we are striving to, and doubt is something that gets in the way. Instead of what it means for us to embrace all of life as holy, is this recognition that it's not about opposites. When all there is love, all there is God, all there is truth, despite the fact that there are some things that occur in the way that we use the law of attraction, in the way that we use the law of mind and energy, that it manifests some things that require our attention and our energy, that when we recognize that everything is spirit, everything is spiritual, then we can see doubt as a crucial quality of faith itself expressing. I mentioned last week how I think I mentioned the story of having these challenges with getting on flights. And I saw the challenges that I had as an invitation for me to recognize doubt. That it's a whole lot easier to operate from faith when literally everything is going your way. But when something comes along that doesn't go your way, it's now I get to choose faith again. That living in flow for me has been this recognition that when I choose to stay present, and I've gotten a lot of value in the qualities of staying present and letting my intuition lead. Trey mentioned this in his uncuffed contemplation as well, that when we have ideas of limitations, where did they come from? Who gave us those ideas? Are they serving us? Are they supporting us? And when we recognize that this is just part of my environment, I don't have to take this on. The thing that I'm afraid of, what if it doesn't manifest in the ways that I'm afraid? What if something else happens? That we get to develop these habits of really shifting our reality around us. Trey mentioned this as well, that when we operate from this kind of consciousness, our lives transform around us. People transform around us. That work is done inside first, not as a shortcut, as David Alexander said, but as a recognition that what spiritual practice does is it supports us in living consciously from this understanding day to day. It is not, I meditate so that I can attract $1,000 to pay this bill. It's that I consistently live in knowing and trusting I tithe regularly, and know and trust that this experience of doubt that presented itself, where I don't know how this bill is going to get paid, is a divine appointment for me to remember faith. And doubt gets to serve as a step along the path to faith. So the person who put this content together this week is Reverend Lydia Joy Lazar Ayers. And I felt called to share their Explore and Reflect and Mind to Do Things last week. So we're going to keep that going. Maybe we'll keep it going all year. We'll see how it goes and see how I feel. But this is what we're doing, at least for the month of May. So for this week, in this theme of communal uncertainty, you're invited to explore and reflect in your own lives from this point forward over the course of this week, to dedicate time to meditating on the doubts that you may have for yourself, your community, and CSL as a whole. Journal on these doubts and what curiosities they bring up. Do you notice areas for growth, a need that isn't being addressed, a fear you haven't voiced? And if I am on top of it, maybe I will send this to Nina and make sure that it's in the email blast this week as well, so that you have an opportunity to revisit this, since I don't see anybody writing this down or taking any pictures. So if you are feeling called to do this meditation, I'm going to do my best to remind y'all later this week that it is available to you. They also, Reverend Lydia Joy invites us to identify what is ours to do through this journal and reflection, and asking ourselves if there are any doubts that need to be voiced, holes that we are noticing within our own communities, and to find one thing to do tangibly this week that addresses a communal doubt. I'm committed to figuring out what that thing is for me, so I'm going to stay present and let my intuition lead, identify what that is. And what I would love is for us to pray on this together. Spiritual mind treatment on this together. So I invite each one of you, just take a moment to settle into this sacred space that we are currently occupying. And we've had so many opportunities to see the gift of the breath. So I'm going to remind us once again to bring our attention and our awareness to the gift of the breath. How we don't need to consciously direct the breath. We don't have to choose to inhale or exhale. We are always breathing. What it means to be alive means that we are breathing. And I am grateful that in this moment in time, that Spirit expressing itself as us is with us in every breath, in every moment, identifying what is ours to do, identifying the one tangible thing this week that addresses community doubt. Whether that tangible thing is something as simple as a prayer or an action, I trust and know that what is ours to do is communicated to us by that inner wisdom that is as close to us as the breath. And I am grateful to trust and know that as we are in this experience of community together, that uncertainty is simply just a step along the path of life. Nothing to judge or criticize, simply to embrace and recognize the gift of its presence. So I'm grateful that we get to celebrate that here and now. I'm grateful for the shift that takes place in our individual lives because we have chosen to show up for this sacred experience, whether online or in person. And I'm grateful for the ways in which that shift ripples out into our community and beyond. And in gratitude, I invite us to affirm this prayer together by saying,
And so it is.
Check and make sure the sound is right.
Testing. Pour yourself in me, pour yourself into my heart. Whoa, wonderful Spirit, pour yourself in me, pour yourself into my heart. Whoa, wonderful Spirit, pour your joy in me, pour your joy into my heart. Whoa, wonderful Spirit, pour your joy in me, pour your joy into my heart. Whoa, wonderful Spirit, pour your love in me, pour your love into my heart. Whoa, wonderful Spirit, and pour your love in me, pour your love into my heart. Whoa, wonderful Spirit, sing your song in me, sing your song into my heart. Whoa, wonderful Spirit, sing your song in me, sing your song into my heart. Whoa, wonderful Spirit, shine your light in me, shine your light into my heart. Whoa, wonderful Spirit, shine your light in me, shine your light into my heart. Whoa, wonderful Spirit, dance and smile with me, dance and smile into my heart. Whoa, wonderful Spirit, dance and smile with me, dance and smile into my heart. Whoa, wonderful Spirit, pour yourself in me, pour yourself into my heart. Whoa, wonderful Spirit, pour yourself in me, pour yourself into my heart. Whoa, wonderful Spirit.
Forget that. Communal uncertainty. All right, so this is the time for conscious giving. We have been honoring the Haudenosaunee Thanksgiving address, taking pieces from the Haudenosaunee Thanksgiving address each week. So I invite you to affirm this statement from the Thanksgiving address with me. We are all thankful to our Mother, the Earth, for she gives us all that we need for life. She supports our feet as we walk upon her. It gives us joy that she continues to care for us as she has from the beginning of time. To our Mother, we send our greetings and our thanks. Now our minds are one. And as Mary Lee goes around with the basket, we invite you to share financial energy or
Your energy
your
is
love, whatever kind of energy your intuition calls for. And if you are the kind of person that does not walk around with cash, financial energy in your pockets, all these buttons, we have this QR code that goes directly to our website. And text to give, I find, is the easiest way. You text however amount you want to give to that phone number. You set it up one time, and don't ever get asked all those questions again. You just get to text to give by a single text with the number, and that's the end of it. So that's how I do it. Y'all do y'all. And let's get into some announcements. Today is our Leadership Council meeting. It's going to happen right after this. We have like 5 seconds to grab some food if we need it, to heat up food and get back into that room right over there to have our Leadership Council meeting. Next Sunday, after Spirit Uncuffed at 2:30, Donnell Cole, Reverend Dr. Donnell Cole, is going to be leading a book signing. Him and his co-writer, Net Hitep, I don't know how to say Net's last. He always says Net. I don't know Net's pronounced Net's last name. And I don't want to butcher that. So you'll get an opportunity to meet Net in real life if you want to come and get Net's signature. She signed my book. I'm going to try and have this book done by the time I'm here next week. I'm 3/4 of the way full, so I'm going to try and have it done. And I love that we get a shout out on it. Spirit Uncuffed has a literal shout out in the book. So check it out, and I think this QR code is where you can get your copy on Amazon. And if you are not a QR code person, just put Love School in Amazon and get your copy. And on Sunday, you can get it signed by the authors. Our potluck is happening. We have our potluck on the first Sunday of every month, so it's going to be on June 7th. And our drag show, we got a ticket link for the drag show. Drag show is happening at the OKC Farmers Market, and we are collaborating with Black Queer Oklahoma on this one. And they are people who know to put on a show. I've been to some of their bowls that they've had here and in Tulsa, and they're exceptional. We will have soul food plates for sale. They'll be vegan and gluten-free. And you can get tickets online in advance for $5. They will be $7 at the door. But of course, we don't ever say, you don't get to come in here because you don't have money. That's not how we do. Everybody is more than welcome. These funds do is they support United Life. They support Black Queer Oklahoma. They pay for the space for the farmers market, but you're welcome. Please don't feel like you can't bring your people, or if you've got people who you know would like to be there, know that they are welcome either way. All right. What we did last week is we all got together in a circle and sang a peace song together. How do we feel about that? Yeah? All right, let's do it. Let's get in a circle mode.
I don't know that I could sing a peace song sitting down.
I know, sit down. I don't know about a circle.
Family all are we. Let me walk with my family in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now, right now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow. To take each moment and live each moment with peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth and let it begin with me.
Have the best week ever.
Ever.
Yeah, the best we
Absolutely.
ever.